Okay, we can't talk about the midterms and elections without talking about Georgia. Here's the key moment in the debate between Herschel Walker and Senator Raphael Warnock on Friday. We'll talk about it on the other side.
One thing I have not done, I've never pretended to be a police officer, and I've never threatened a shootout with the police.
Well, and now I have to respond to that.
We are moving on, gentlemen.
I have to respond to that. And you know what's so funny? I am with many police officers, and at the same time,
Mr. Walker, excuse me, Mr. Walker, please, out of respect, I need to let you know, Mr. Walker, you are very well aware of the rules tonight.
Yes.
And you have a prop. Yes. That is not allowed, sir.
I work with police officers. Steve, I'm not sure that's the way you win over voters, but I want all of you to give me your reactions to that moment. Steve, you go first.
Well, the whole Georgia race where you have the literal successor to Martin Luther King running against somebody who has never been in politics and has a whole history of misogyny and violence against women and no credentials at all is really, frankly, embarrassing. But fundamentally, all of these races come down to the question of turnout. The composition of the country has changed. Stacey Abrams lost in Georgia by 54,000 votes. Biden won by about 12,000 votes in 2020. There are 1.6 million new voters in Georgia just since 2018. So this election is going to turn on who actually speaks to those people and who actually inspires and mobilizes them. And that's the critical strategic decision around these midterms, is you can't just ignore these attacks. And there's actually a lot of data and research. Holly Mendelberg at Princeton researched Willie Horton in 1988, which you talked about, and found that being explicit in calling out the racist dog whistle is what's most effective. It reduces its impact and its influence. But if you just try to ignore it, then it's actually more effective. And so this is what Obama did in 2008 when they tried to do the whole piece around Reverend Wright around him and try to scare white people again. You call it out explicitly, summon white people to reject it. That's the best way to increase your white support, and that's the best way to win.
And I got to get Lene and Michael in on this. Michael, I'm coming to you last. Lene, your reaction to that and how it fits into the larger picture.
I mean, I think this is a great example of how Republicans are throwing away the Senate majority. If we win the Senate, it's going to be because we put up mainstream candidates who are talking about mainstream issues, who are appealing to the voters of their state. And the Trump lane has taken over and put these extreme candidates in these Senate races that, frankly, they should have been able to win in a midterm year like this. So Mitch McConnell said it. It's one of the only times I've agreed with him, but they have a real candidate quality problem, and I think it's very likely to result in Democrats keeping the Senate.
And Michael Steele, last to you, and we're running out of time, but two real quick questions. One, why is this race still so close? Herschel Walker could win. And two, would you have recruited him?
Hell no. No, 1,000 times no. No.
But he could still win.
Yes, and it goes to the point just made about how you lean into the attack. It's okay to attack your opponent on political grounds in politics. You don't have to attack them personally, but when a candidate opens themselves up the way Kari Lake has out in Arizona and Herschel Walker has in Georgia, I don't understand why Democrats are sitting here tiptoeing around the tulips on it. I mean, lean into it. The man has so many children he can't keep count. He paid for an abortion. The pro-life, pro-family man was out there paying for abortions, not once, but apparently more than once. And the reverend is like, well, we're just not going to talk about it. In Arizona, you got the consummate election denier, and you won't debate her? You won't stand on the stage and every time Kari Lake open her mouth, look at her and go, well, that's why you're not qualified to be governor, and make a point every time she opens her mouth? This is not rocket science, Democrats. You guys, I mean, you're sitting here and you're watching this thing wither away. You're looking at these elections that, as you said in this lead-in, Jonathan, Democrats were ahead on. They had solid ground on. Now they've tightened up. There is that part that happens like that. But the rest of it is on you at this point, because you got some candidates out here who think they just need to be nice about it instead of leaning into the fight. Well, because Republicans, trust me, with the shoe on the other foot, baby, this would be a whole different game for them. Y'all be cleaning up all kinds of mess.
Hey, Michael Steele, I'm in all kinds of mess because we've gone probably 2 minutes over. We got to go. Michael Steele, Lene Harris, and Steve Phillips, thank you all very much for coming back to the Sunday Show.